curiosity, Chris, at the 9X Arena in Manchester, and it was a fight that you lost, and we'll come on to how you felt about that and your thoughts on the fight, obviously, as we go through the programme. Can we start at the very beginning? Do you remember, Chris, how the fight came about? Do you remember where you were when you found out that the fight was going to happen?
Not particularly. When you're working, you're working. Everybody else enjoys the occasion or the crack, but you're working. So it was me at work, and I've worked, I suppose, 52 times over those 13 years as a professional. So I can't say I remember everything, but there are certain principles of which I want to speak on in terms of the fight itself, yes.
Yes, you don't have to worry, Chris. We're going to jog your memory, almost give you a little prod, and it'll come flooding back to you, I'm sure. You were moving up 2 weight divisions for this fight. A lot of people in boxing who think they know what they're talking about called it Mission Impossible for Chris Eubank. Did you feel that you were the underdog going into this fight?
Did I feel that way? Yes, I felt that way, but that is what gives me the edge. So the sea of people, or boxing pundits and aficionados, they think it's against me, but all of what they think is against me, because they think that, it makes me the person who is in the driving seat. Let me just qualify that by explaining this point. You see, it's going up against adversity that allows me to win, irrespective of the decision. So if you keep in mind or take into consideration the fact that I lost to Steve Collins twice, it's not about winning or losing. When you look at the bigger picture, I went to Ireland on St. Patrick's Day weekend to fight an Irishman. That's the win. See, Rudyard Kipling talks about winning and losing are both imposters. So what is the measure? It's about courage. Courage. This guy here, he went and did that. And the reason, again, why I'm bringing this up is that I want other fighters to stand up and run towards danger. It inspires us when someone does what no one else will do, what seems crazy. So again, being in that position, something has just flooded into my mind, which was going to Germany, fighting a guy called Graziano Roccigiani. This fellow was unbeaten in 35 fights. I went to his backyard as champion. Okay, I won the fight, but again, that's not the point. The point is I went to Germany in a place where they were all against me. So that is the inspiration. That is what makes the fans and the commentators, that's what actually raises them and gives them what? Entertainment.
You jumped up 2 weight divisions to cruiserweight to take on Cole Thompson, who's considered a very big, strong champion. Was that because you enjoyed the challenge, or did you just feel like it was a fight that you could win?
I felt I could win the fight. If I'm looking purely at Carl Thompson, I'm saying, oh no, I am a better tactician than him. I'm better stylistically than him. So I'm seeing all these pluses where I can actually perhaps pick up a cruiserweight world championship. And I thought I could beat him. And for me, I did. For me. Let me qualify that. I went into a celebrity program called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here back in 2015. I won that particular series. Now, I was the 4th person to be voted out. So I wasn't number 1, but for me, I won. Sometimes you shouldn't go looking to win the prize. Maybe that will cost you too much. Look to win for yourself, which is always acquitting yourself well, or acquitting yourself like a gentleman. So long as you come out looking a gentleman, then you have won for you.
Chris, tell us about your training camp. You prepared in Cornwall for this one.
Chris Eubank prepared in isolation on Bodmin Moor in Cornwall, with a few sheep and a couple of sparring partners for company. This is more like his natural habitat, don't you think? The 9X Arena awaits.
It was a place, it was a training camp I could go to. It was secluded. It was a great camp. No complaints. I did everything I could do. I always worked to the best of my abilities. And I was ready for both contests. That's the 51st and the 52nd fight of my career, which again, obviously was Carl Thompson in those two fights.
This was a big fight for you, and I understand completely, and the listeners will understand that, you know, it's the taking part and believing that you won, even if you didn't win in any kind of sporting activity. And that's a great attitude to have. But this fight was a big fight for you, Chris, because you had to go to Carl Thompson's native city, Manchester. I'm presuming, and you'll put me right, I know if I'm wrong, that didn't faze you much at all.
Again, that's always the desire. I don't want to fight in my hometown where everyone likes me and understands me. Oh, we've seen Chris for years. Yeah, he's a nice guy. No, I want to go where they have disdain for me because I perform better. Why? Because all that energy can be redirected back to the one guy. Because as much as they may not like me or pretend that they don't like me, as much as that may be, they can't fight me, they can't hit me, they can't throw things at me. So all that energy I can use and direct it to the one guy and give them absolute hell. And it was wonderful. Oh, let me tell you, to think about audiences booing, I tell you what, it makes me, I feel delighted when I think of those crowds who booed me. They bought into it. What was I doing wrong? As we are fair-minded, intelligent people, I'll make this point to you. You say you don't like me. You say that I'm arrogant. Well, hold on, arrogance? So now I can look at what arrogance is to those minds. Arrogance is what the bigot calls ability. I wasn't arrogant. I was doing what I was supposed to do. I'm not supposed to act like a waiter when I'm in the ring for you to like me. In order to win, not like, in order for me to win your love, I have to eviscerate. I have to destroy my opponent, but with grace, with style, majesty, and grace. And if you do that, they don't like you. They will love you.
Did you feel when the fans, not just for this fight, but other fights, booed you, insulted you, shouted things at you? It's almost like there's an element of pantomime in the build-up to these fights and the fights themselves when you get into the ring. Would you agree that that is a fair assessment?
Let me just add one more thing that you didn't say. They spat. I remember guys spitting in my face. This was at the Michael Watson 1 fight at Earl's Court. See, you have to understand where my mind is. I'm being objective. I'm not being subjective. You're not doing this to me. You're doing this to the alter ego that I have here tonight, which is the fighter. So this is not me. I'm a gentle, softly spoken, quite shy. That's really who I am when I'm not fighting. But when I'm fighting, then I have to become this other guy who is impregnable, who is a walking, talking, living, breathing fortress. He's got style, he's got majesty, he's got grace. He can actually put away his opponents in the most spectacular of ways. But then when you speak to him, he's just a guy, or he's a gentleman. So I was doing what I was supposed to do. So again, what bigots or what haters call arrogance is really ability. The only way a man can be seen to be arrogant is if when he speaks above himself.
Coming up on Fight of My Life on Talksport.